So I'm listening to Clarissa Piccola Estes, The Dangerous Old Woman. And as usual, it is full of stories, both mythological stories, ancestral stories, and even everyday present day stories of her experience. And one of her recent stories that she shared was about how a neighbor cut down one of her beautiful trees. And then she shared another mythological story with a similar theme of people doing bad things to you or to the heroine or hero in the story. And I was noticing I was getting like waiting for the revenge part of the story, like how is she going to get even, or what's she going to do about her neighbor? Like, is she going to plant another tree nearby, or what is she going to do? I mean, nothing like hugely violent or anything, but I was really noticing inside myself, waiting for that revenge piece, that get even, that he should, the bad guy or the antagonist, right, should get some comeuppance. And I was waiting for that. And it didn't come. It's not an element in these stories. It's not the important part of these stories of the dangerous old woman. And that's not how we become dangerous, perhaps, is seeking revenge is not part of our beautiful danger. And so I was curious about this whole idea of wanting that revenge, and where did that come from? That piece of me that's wanting the person who's causing others suffering to suffer as well. So what I realized is that comes from the wounded inner child that was mistreated. Those come from our past story of being hurt, being harmed, being ignored, being invisible, being mistreated somehow, and nobody sees us. Nobody sees that the neighbor's being abusive, or my father's being abusive. I'm just getting these as examples, or my uncle is a sexual abuser, whatever it might be. These are just examples. So we get these wounds these very real traumas and wounds in our childhood, and perhaps throughout our life. And the bad guy keeps getting away with it, right? The one who's causing the most pain and suffering isn't getting caught, but also the person who's getting harmed isn't getting seen as somebody who's getting hurt. So that wound, if you have that wound, and many people have that wound, I'm guessing most of us have that wound to some degree, which may explain why there's so many TV shows and movies that ultimately rely on the story of revenge. So I like the idea of giving up this desire for revenge, this desire to make sure that everybody knows I was hurt, or everybody knows that my neighbor's mistreating me, or everybody knows that, that this guy's bad, or this woman's not a very nice person and whatnot. It also sees me as somebody who got hurt. I talk about that in one of my books, how it's like when I was a teenager, my neighborhood frenemy, friend and enemy combined, left me up in a tree, took away the ladder, left me up in a tree, and left me up there. And and I metaphorically stayed up in that tree for decades because I wanted everybody to see that this perfect little girl down the street was not a nice girl. I did get down the tree eventually. I can't remember how, but it took me decades to metaphorically to get down that tree because I kept wanting people to see she did this to me, and nobody sees this woman, well, girl at the time, this teenager. She was seen as the perfect little girl, and I was seen as the troublemaker. So who's keeping you up in the tree? What revenge story is keeping you, up in the tree, or bound to your past pain, rather than letting go of the need for revenge and letting go of the need to be seen as hurt? I invite you for a free adventure Just simply sign up for the initiated writer. It's a weekly contemplation and writer's experience that you get in your inbox every Friday. It's a year-long journey. You get contemplations in writing, and these contemplations in writing will help you discover what is keeping you back, what's keeping you up in that tree. What part of you is still seeking revenge in this case, or what part of you is wishing that others would know what your suffering is and how that may be keeping you stuck, and freeing yourself from these different dynamics. So go ahead and sign up for free. I'm never going to charge you. I'm never going to ask you. I'm never going to pass the basket around like they do at church. This is a gift from me to you.